Hello and welcome to Wired In. I'm Diana Galata with Hampton City Schools. I'm very pleased today to have joining us John Eagle, who's Director of Information Technology. Welcome.
Hello.
And Paul Lawrence, Director of Information Literacy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
And you've been on the show before.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk to you a little bit about Digital Bridge in a minute as well, because Paul has his own show as well. But
Awesome show.
It is an awesome show. But let's start with John. First off, I know you've been in Hampton a long time, not so much in the school division, but in the city. So talk to us a little bit about your background and the career path that you've taken to get where you are now.
Yeah, I actually came here in '72. My father was in the Air Force. I'm an Air Force brat. But we're kind of like Siskel and Ebert or Click and Clack.
Both, I think,
So-
in a good
so
chemistry.
he's a teacher. He's a bona fide teacher. I'm a technology guy, so I'm the big nerd. I'm the big geek of the organization. And it goes way back to when I was in high school. I loved electronics. I was going to Kickingham High School and went to what we called Votech back then. I guess we call it New Horizons now. Mm-hmm. And I loved doing that kind of stuff. You know, I was one of those kids that would go to Radio Shack and buy little parts and put things together. I got into auto engineering, started recording, going to recording studios, doing all that kind of, I had a real knack for it. And my dad would tell me, you need to get into computers. And this is back in 1980, you know, before the first personal computer had come out. And he was telling me, get into computers. And I was like, I don't know if I want to get into computers. And so I went to college, I went to Thomas Nelson, majoring in electronics. And it wasn't for me. It really wasn't for me. It was a lot of nodal analysis and things that just didn't enjoy too much, and so I kind of did some other things for a while. Came back and said, okay, let me try computers. And by now it was 1983, the personal computer had hit. Things were really changing quick, and I just took right to it. I loved computers, so kept working with it, graduated. Actually got my first job in 1985, working for Hampton City Schools as a programmer analyst, and so I did that for a number of years, and the schools in the city combined their computer departments, and so I went to work for the city. And I did that for a number of years, kind of worked my way up in the ranks and decided to go back to school. And I went to CNU and decided to focus more on the management side of things and got a bachelor's degree in public administration. So they made me the Director of Information Technology at the City of Hampton, and did that for a number of years and saw really everything that has happened since then, which is just enormous. I mean, the birth of the internet, the transition from old mainframe terminal-based computer systems to everybody having their own device and Wi-Fi and the internet and everything else is just an explosion. And so I did that, and then I actually got an offer to be the assistant city manager with the city of Hampton, and continued to focus in on technology types of projects. Worked on the expansion of the National Institute of Aerospace, which is right across the street from Langley NASA, and have a lot of educational, academic things happening now there, very exciting things. Also got involved in the 400th anniversary of Hampton. Hampton is 400 years old, and I learned a lot about the history of Hampton, which is quite fascinating as well. But in 2010, a position opened up in Hampton City Schools for the Director of IT, and that's where my heart was. That's really where I wanted to be, was in the middle of it, especially in education, because nowhere, I think, have we seen an opportunity for technology to make a difference in our communities and in the world than in education. The opportunity is just enormous. So I applied, got the job, and been here ever since and having a blast.
Well, we're glad you came back.
Thanks.
So Paul, you've been in your position, has it been a year yet?
It'll be a year, July 1st.
And your background's more, I know you were an assistant principal at Kickingham.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to the path that you're
Sure, yeah. I was an English teacher for 11 years in Newport News, and then got a job working as an ITRT, which is sort of a instructional technology specialist, and working with teachers to show them how to use all the gadgets that we get the kids and them to use, and trying to help them sort of incorporate that into their style and their lesson planning. Did that for a couple of years, and that's when I came over to Hampton City Schools and got the job at Kickingham High School. And this past year, I got this job, and really excited and happy to be here.
So So let's find out a little bit more about what you all do on a daily basis, and I'm sure no 2 days look the same. But John, tell us just briefly what you do in your job for those folks out there who may not understand exactly what your role is.
Well, it changes from day to day. I will say this, that I'm one of those people who, I get here at 7 a.m. in the morning, I can't wait to start my day. A lot of people, or they come in, it's like, oh, the morning, you know. I'm the guy that's like on Friday afternoons, like, I can't wait to come back Monday morning. And I normally get a little bit of moans and groans about that, but the reality is I can't imagine. Actually, I feel sorry for people who are not in a profession that they really, really love to do. And because that's, I think, when you can really make a difference is when you're doing something you really love to do. But I start my day off with the very first email in my inbox is always a Google summary of my day. Google has a feature that automatically will take your calendar and tell you, here's what you got going on today. So I read that. I get through any other unread emails from the night before. And I normally have several meetings that go on throughout the day. But basically, we manage a complex of 25,000 computers distributed throughout the division. So just the tech support and the repairs and the maintenance of all those computers. And the people that, you know, I oversee the people that provide the hands-on and the direct support for that. The Wi-Fi network and the internet and the communications, high-speed communication systems they have in support of that. And the enterprise systems, you know, I mean, our bread and butter, as it were, is the system that generates report cards and attendance and all these kinds of things. I mean, that's probably the most important computer system we have in the division. Although some would say it would be the payroll system. So the financial management system and the student information system are the two enterprise systems that command a lot of attention. So that, and then all the infrastructure. And then again, Paul and I really do work very closely together at the HIP. So he's providing the support for the teachers and so forth. And so I need to make sure I understand what his challenges are for the day or for the week so that I can make sure my people are there. You know, if he has some event going on, some training event, we want to make sure that we have it staffed appropriately so we can provide that support.
And that's a great transition to what you do on a daily basis, because your job is less of the technical and more of the supporting teachers and supporting people in the classroom with the technology. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure, yeah. We have a team of 6 CITTs and then 3 instructional specialists that work in the information literacy department. And their job is essentially to respond to teacher needs and then also to drive the professional development for the division. We are a one-to-one, we call it, division, with a lot of our students having a personal device. And it's our challenge and our opportunity to help our teachers provide environments for students to really maximize the use of those devices. So we get excited about going out and working with teachers to co-teach and plan so that those devices become a part of their routines and a part of our students' routines to communicate with teachers and each other and to collaborate with each other on projects and papers and giving them an experience that's going to be something that's going to be helpful to them when they go out and join the workforce. You know, I'm a parent of 3 kids, and I'm always amazed at how quickly they're growing up and how quickly they're starting to have to interact with the real world, and it happens so fast. So I love the idea of us giving our children these opportunities to develop these skill sets that are going to serve them for the rest of their lives, and that's what our people do, and we're real proud of that.
So changing gears a little bit, both of you should be congratulated for the technology award that the division has earned, #1 in the nation for technology use. And I know I listened to your presentation to the school board, and so I know it's a complicated award in terms of applying for it and checking off all the different boxes. But why don't you tell us a little bit about that award and just briefly some of the categories that we're graded in to earn that award?
Sure. So it's done by the Center for Digital Government, which is sort of like a think tank organization, and they work with governments at all levels, state, local, federal, K-12, higher ed. And what they do is they do this thing, it's actually called a survey. And the survey is like a 30-page document that asks you all kinds of questions under the sun about how you use technology. And so obviously, as an example, one of the areas that they focus in on is what can our residents do online? What is it that we offer through our internet webpage, our website? And so there's a lot of things. I mean, there's everything from, making a comment, or there's information about you can text a concern. So you have feedback mechanisms in there. There's a Naviance where a student can design an academic plan from 9th through 12th grade. You have the student portal where they can go in and look at their assignments and the grades. The parent portal where the parents can follow up and look at those grades and assignments as well. They ask about things like the board. Is the board accessible online? Do they have their email addresses online? Do they have Twitter accounts? And so we answer all those kinds of questions, and we do very well in those areas because we do have all of our contact information online from everybody from the superintendent, from the chair on down, and all of our students have email addresses and things like that. There's just that's just an example of one of the areas that they look at. As another, they ask about the board meetings themselves. Are they televised? Do you put the agendas online or the minutes online? Can residents comment during a meeting online? Are they podcasts? And so we're able to check all those boxes off and accomplish a lot. In fact, I'll just mention this is sort of extra credit, if you will, but we have been producing podcasts in-house. One of Paul's people, and you might want to talk about that in a second, but we're very proud of those kinds of things. It's very exciting. It's a new way of learning. It addresses a whole new learning style. And I would love, in fact, if a student wants to contact me out there, or a group of students, to start maybe doing a student-based podcast about some topic, maybe a science-based program. Just send me an email, jeagle@hampton.k12.va.us, and I'll be glad to talk to them about that. So it's very exciting things that the digital survey covers, and they rank everybody, based upon your answers to the questions, and they have a top 10 that they release, and as you're aware, 3 years ago we were third, and last year we were second, and this year we were first. So unfortunately, it gets tougher from here, but we'll see how we do next year.
Well, another thing that I know people are really impressed with is our digital learning program, and the one-to-one program, the work that we're doing in that area. And I know that you have first off, the Digital Bridge program,
right,
which is a new television show on Channel 46 and on the internet, actually highlights those programs. So tell us a little bit about Digital Bridge, and then I want to ask you a little bit about a couple of events that are coming up this summer that will help highlight Hampton City
Great.
Schools.
Yeah, well, none of it would be possible. The Digital Bridge is a show that we've started for Hampton Schools, and without Krista Campbell and Matt Buckwalter and Andy Foley and their team, they take the footage that we shoot out at Hampton City Schools and they just turn it into an amazing program. It looks great, and people have always been very complimentary of it. Sort of the mission of the show is to find educators in Hampton City Schools who are using technology in interesting ways, and then highlighting them and talking to their students, talking to the administrators in the building, and trying to celebrate the way that technology can have that transformative experience for kids and for teachers, and how it can change the way they think about coming to school and the way they think about learning. And we're really proud of it because I think that it's really given our teachers a chance to shine. And they put in so much hard work, and that's going on every day. And I like for them to be able to get that spotlight put on them.
Well, what's neat about it for me too is it gives you a visual of
Yeah.
what's happening in the classroom, because a lot of people think of the classroom as how it was when they were in school, which could be 20, 40 years ago. But when you see Digital Bridge, you really get to see the neat things that our students are doing with technology and how it really does enhance their learning. So that's a real exciting piece. And then connected to that, you have a showcase coming up at the end of June.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about that and how teachers will be sharing their lessons with others and so on.
Great. Yeah, it's called the Hampton City Schools Digital Lesson Showcase, and it's going to be at Phoenix High School on June 28th. And
Phoenix Pre-K through 8.
Phoenix Pre-K
Used
through
to be
8.
Phoenix High School.
That's right. Okay. And we've asked teachers to apply to be a part of this showcase. And our goal is to have teachers from all the curriculum areas present to an audience of local people and maybe people from the government and from the school board and from our division, and just to highlight all of the great things that are going on in their classrooms and give people an understanding of when we talk about digital learning in Hampton City Schools, what does it look like, and what does that investment really mean to the children of Hampton? And we're hoping to give people an experience of being able to see just the great innovation and the way it's revolutionizing the way that kids learn. And so after the end of that day, then those teachers are going to go out for the summer with a mission from each curriculum leader to create some of these new lessons for the curriculum, and then we're going to embed them in the curriculum so that teachers around the division can share in their knowledge and their experience.
So before we close, do you want to mention anything about Google Palooza?
Google Palooza. We're hosting Google Palooza at Jones Magnet Middle on June 23rd. And that's going to be, like I said, at Jones, and it's going to be people from all over the 7 cities coming here to learn more about Google Apps for Education. It's an all-day event, and we have about 250 people coming, and they'll be able to attend sessions just teaching them from how to use Google Classroom to Google Docs, Google Sheets, and then how to organize it in your day. So we're excited to host that.
So really several exciting things going on in the area of technology. So before we close, is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers?
Oh, just encourage parents to get involved, get engaged with technology if they're involved in the one-to-one program. Don't be shy about looking at the device and look at what your students are looking at, and learn how maybe help them to do searches on the web, or have them help you to do searches on the web. A lot of time the kids have a better idea than the parents do, but there's just so much knowledge and information available, and the personalized learning that's available. But you have to learn to find where it's at, find where those resources are at, and teach students to be good digital citizens and learn how not to be distracted. I mean, that is one of the drawbacks of technology, is that there's so much out there. You can often get pulled into an area that is not going to be healthy or helpful to your academic career. And so to remain focused in on that and learn what your passion is, and to find those resources, I just again encourage parents to work with their kids and find out what's available out there.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, I would say parents, if your child has a one-to-one device, when you're doing that nightly routine in my house, we load the book bags at night, and when you're loading that book bag, making sure that a charged device is going back into that book bag to come back to school. If they don't have it, they can't use it, so we need your help.
That's great advice. Well, thank you to both of you for coming on. There's a lot of great things going on in technology, and now we can share that with our viewers.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Hopefully they can get a little bit more engaged in the program. And thank you for watching Wired In. Have a great week.